The pregnant woman wearing my wedding ring was making breakfast in my kitchen. 6 months. That's how long I'd been gone for cancer treatment in India. 6 months of chemotherapy, of throwing up alone in hospital bathrooms, of watching my hair fall out in clumps. And while I was fighting for my life, someone had moved into my house, into my bed, into my marriage. The taxi driver who brought me from the airport had refused to help with my bags. "Madam, this house, are you sure?" His nervous eyes kept darting to the children's toys scattered across my veranda. Toys that weren't there when I left. Now I stood frozen at my own kitchen window, watching this young woman, maybe 22, belly swollen with late pregnancy, humming while she cooked in my favorite pan. The morning sun caught something on her neck that made my blood turn ice cold. Traditional marriage beads. The exact pattern reserved for wives of the Adeyemi family. My family. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. The spoon clattered to the floor when she saw me. Ghost. Ghost. The pregnant woman pressed herself against my refrigerator, her hands protecting her belly. "Mama Kike said you died. She said the cancer took you 3 months ago." Mama Kike. My mother-in-law. The same woman who'd kissed my forehead at the airport, promising to pray for my recovery every single day. "I'm very much alive," I managed to say, though my legs felt like water. "Who are you?" "I'm Folake," she whispered, still staring like I might vanish. I'm Deli's wife. We married 3 months ago. 3 months ago, I was having my 4th round of chemotherapy. 3 months ago, my husband Deli had sent money with a note saying, "Stay strong, my fighter." 3 months ago, while poison dripped through my veins to save my life, my mother-in-law was apparently planning my funeral and my replacement. The front door slammed open behind me. Ronk. Mama Kike stood in my doorway, her face cycling through shock, fear, then something cold and calculating. Behind her, my husband Deli dropped his laptop bag, his mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping for air. "We heard you died," Mama Kike said smoothly. "The hospital called." "The hospital never called you." My voice was stronger now. My emergency contact was my sister Busy. The same sister who's been sending me photos of the renovations you've done to MY house. Deli still hadn't spoken. His eyes stayed fixed on a spot above my head, the same guilty look from when he'd crashed his father's car at 17. Mama Kike straightened her wrapper, lifting her chin. "My son deserves children. 5 years of marriage, nothing. Now look," she gestured at Folake's belly. 3 months, and she's carrying twin boys. Twins. God's will. I laughed, but it sounded broken. "Let me show you God's will." I pulled out my phone, found the recording from 2 weeks ago. Deli's voice filled the kitchen. "Baby, I just transferred the money for your treatment. Don't worry about anything here. Mama is taking care of me. I love you so much. You're going to beat this thing and come back to me." Folake gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. "Deli, you said she abandoned you. You said she chose her career over family. There's more." I scrolled to my legal documents. "Folake, check the date on that marriage certificate Mama Kike arranged. Because according to my lawyer, who I've been messaging since my flight landed, bigamy carries 5 to 7 years imprisonment in Nigeria." "Mama, you said the divorce papers were finalized." Deli's voice cracked like a teenager's. "You said Ronk signed them before she left." The room went silent. Even Folake stepped away from Mama Kike. "I was protecting you," Mama Kike stammered. "This woman is barren." "The doctors confirmed." "The doctors," I interrupted, "confirmed I had stage 2 cervical cancer. Treatable. Curable. Which it now is." I pulled out my medical clearance from Apollo Hospital. "But that's not the interesting part. Tell them about Dr. Banko," Mama. Tell them about the fertility results you intercepted 5 years ago. The ones that showed the problem wasn't with me. Deli sank onto the couch, head in his hands. What is she talking about, Mama? I didn't wait for Mama Kike to spin another story. Your mother intercepted our fertility test results for years. The real results showed you had a low sperm count, treatable, fixable with medication. But she couldn't stand the thought of her precious son being less than a man, so she destroyed the report and told everyone I was the problem. But I'm pregnant, Folek whispered, her voice trembling. With twins. The look Mama Kike shot her could have stopped a heart. Exactly, I said, watching my mother-in-law's face carefully. Miraculous, isn't it? 3 months of marriage and twins, when Deli's condition typically requires medical intervention to achieve even one pregnancy. That's when Folek did something nobody expected. She pulled out her own phone, hands shaking, and pressed play. Mama Kike's voice crackled through the speaker. The boy is useless, just like his father was. Quick seed. But we need babies in this house, and they need the Adeyemi name. You do what you have to do, but make sure those children look enough like my son. I don't care who the father is, as long as Deli believes they're his. Deli shot up from the couch. Folek, what, whose babies are those? Folek's hand went protective over her belly. Why don't you ask your mother? Ask her about the arrangement with Uncle Tond. Ask her how much she paid him to ensure the family legacy. Before anyone could respond, Folek's face twisted in pain. She doubled over, water pooling at her feet. The babies, she gasped. Something's wrong. They're coming too early. The emergency room was complete chaos. Folek disappeared behind swinging doors, screaming, while the rest of us sat in the waiting room, the strangest family imaginable. Mama Kike prayed loudly, calling on every ancestor and saint. Deli paced, his phone buzzing with calls he ignored. And I sat there, wondering how my homecoming had turned into this nightmare. 3 hours later, Dr. Taiwo emerged, her expression serious. The babies are stable but extremely premature. They'll need intensive care for weeks. However, we need to speak with the biological father about medical history. Deli stood up, but Dr. Taiwo shook her head gently. Mr. Adeyemi, we ran standard blood tests. I'm afraid you're not a biological match. Is there another family member we should contact? The waiting room exploded. Deli staggered backward. Folek, wheeled out on a gurney, burst into tears. But in all the chaos, I noticed something else. Mama Kike's phone had fallen from her bag, screen glowing with a text message, "The job is done. The marine wife suspects nothing. Transfer the remainder." I quickly photographed it. The sender's name made my stomach drop. Uncle Tond. Not Folek's uncle like she'd said. Deli's uncle. Mama Kike's brother-in-law. The same man who'd been managing Deli's father's estate for the past 3 years. This wasn't just about babies. This was about money. About inheritance. About stealing everything while I was supposedly dying overseas. You used your own brother-in-law? I said quietly, and the shouting stopped. Everyone turned to look at me. Deli's uncle. The one who's been managing your late husband's estate. Mama Kike aged 10 years in that moment. Her shoulders slumped. Because we all knew what this meant. Under Yoruba law, if Uncle Ton was the biological father of those twins, and if this was proven to be a scheme to defraud the estate, everything fell apart. The family compound. The inheritance. The properties. All of it. The land documents, Deli whispered, pulling out his phone with shaking hands. That's why you made me sign those papers last month. You said they were for insurance, but they were. Power of attorney, I finished. She was transferring everything. Folek, week from delivery, had everything from her gurney. I didn't know, she sobbed. Mama Kike said it was normal, that this is how families survived. She said you were dead, that Deli needed heirs. I didn't know Ton was his uncle. I thought. Oh God. The security door opened. 2 police officers walked in with my lawyer right behind them. I'd called her from the bathroom 20 minutes ago. They led Mama Kike away in handcuffs. She didn't fight. Didn't cry. Just kept whispering, I did it for the family. I did it for the family. Uncle Ton was arrested at the airport 2 hours later, caught trying to board a flight to Ghana with $200,000 in transferred funds. Folake was given a choice, press charges or accept a settlement for the twins' care. She chose the settlement. The babies, innocent in all this mess, would need support regardless of whose DNA they carried. And then it was just Deli and me in the hospital parking lot, sunset painting everything gold and painful. I didn't know, he said. About the medical results, about Mama's schemes, about any of it. When you got sick, she said it was a sign from God. That you would want me to be happy. I did want you to be happy, I replied. That's why I went for treatment instead of giving up. That's why I fought to come back. Is there any chance we could start over? I looked at this man I'd loved for 7 years. The man who'd let his mother convince him I was dead while I fought cancer alone. Who'd married another woman while sending me love messages. Deli, I said gently, I came back to reclaim my life, not restore my old one. I handed Deli the divorce papers, real ones this time. I'll be fair about the assets. Folake will need support for those twins. They're innocent in all this. But I'm taking what's mine, including my dignity. As I walked toward my sister's car, he called out, "Where will you go?" I turned back one last time. Forward, Deli. I'm going forward. 6 months passed like a dream. Folake sent me a message one Tuesday morning. She'd started a support group for young women manipulated by desperate families. The twins were healthy, beautiful. DNA tests confirmed Uncle Ton as the father, but Deli had chosen to raise them anyway, perhaps the first truly brave thing he'd ever done. Mama Kike served 18 months in prison for fraud and conspiracy. The family compound was sold to pay restitution. And me. I stood in front of my new building, watching the sign installer secure the letters, the Phoenix House, a shelter for women rebuilding. The cancer had tried to kill me. But it was the betrayal that taught me how to truly live. My shelter became a safe space for women returning from medical treatments to find their lives stolen. Women whose families had given up on them. Women who'd been replaced, erased, forgotten while they fought their battles far from home. We offered legal aid, counseling, temporary housing, and something more important, witnesses. Women who could say, I see you. I believe you. You're not crazy. Folake visited once, the twins sleeping in a double stroller. I wanted to say thank you, she said. For not destroying me when you could have. For seeing me as another victim instead of the enemy. We were both weapons in someone else's war, I told her. The real enemy was greed disguised as tradition. She nodded, tears in her eyes. The support group has 40 women now. 40 women who were told to sacrifice themselves for family legacy. After she left, I sat in my office and thought about that taxi driver who'd been afraid to help with my bags. He'd sensed something wrong at my house. He'd been right. But here's what I learned. Sometimes the disease that doesn't kill you isn't in your body, it's in your home. Sometimes the people who claim to love you are the sickness. And sometimes, the only cure is walking away. The woman who left for India died in that hospital, not from cancer, but from the poison of false loyalty. The woman who came back. She's building something better. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear that walking away isn't giving up, sometimes it's the bravest thing you can do. And if you believe in second chances that we give ourselves, not the ones we beg others for, drop a comment below. We read every single one.